Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Matt here, and we back with another episode. Matter of fact, MMA. We are coming off of, we just got out of, we just finished one of the greatest UFC fight card weekends ever, right? I'm not saying the greatest, but ever. A fight card in which it was UFC 290 on International Fight Week, but I'm going to refer to it as what it should be called UFC 290. He got that dog in him because the only way to describe that card was he got that dog in him. And now let's get off into it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to run through a lot of the key results of this card, and that's all we gonna do because this card was just so much going on. We're just gonna run through some of the key results in this video. I'm gonna give you a couple of thoughts, and then I'm gonna do another video in which we're gonna do a breakdown of 3, maybe 4 big topics, big fights, big takeaways from UFC 290. So let's get off into it. Starting off first, the main event. Alexander Volkanovski goes out there and defends his featherweight championship against Yair Rodriguez, the interim champion. So, I'm not going to get a lot into that fight right now. Frankly, here's the craziest part about this card. This fight wasn't really the main takeaway point of the entire card. Essentially, what happened is somewhat what we already knew was going to happen. It's pretty much we know. If you don't know, now you know. Alexander Volkanovski is one of the greatest fighters, period, right? I'm not saying the greatest, but one of them. So, what was interesting about this fight is we pretty much knew Alexander Volkanovski was going to come out of it more than likely victorious. But Yair, in theory, presented a lot of challenges for him as far as striking challenges and also as far as defensive submission challenges. And frankly, Volk walked through all of that. One of the most interesting things about this fight is Alex is in control pretty much the entire fight. And then the last round that the fight was actually still active was Yair's best round. It was Yair's best round. In the last round before the fight was finished, Yair was doing work with the kicks. The kicks were looking solid. He had some pretty good footwork in that round. And you're sitting there and you're thinking, this is Yair's best round. He gets, the action gets halted momentarily from an accidental headbutt from Alex. And then Yair gets back up and Alex takes, I believe it was a head kick, or it was either a head kick or a body kick. He took a kick, and Alex literally at that moment, he looks at Yair, and it's like he kind of just does the math like, okay, let's just go ahead and get this guy out of here. Because he kind of, as he's bobbing back and forth, he takes his head kick and he goes. And then the dude goes in there like he was just pissed and finishes him. Just goes in there and it's just like, okay, I'm tired of this. And Yair's on the ground and the referee is stopping it. I mean, he didn't knock him out, but he just, when Volk got him to the ground and just started pounding on him, he couldn't continue. And it was just like, it was almost like, could Alexander have done that at any time throughout the fight? Was he just, I know he would have just finished him if he could. But at the same time, was he just doing it just to kind of like, okay, let's get some reps in. Oh. It was like Chris Tucker off Rush Hour. Like, which one of y'all kicked me? You know what I'm saying? When he got caught with a few kicks from Yair, it was almost like Volk was like, you know what? Eugene, I'm going to go ahead and finish this guy off and hit up my wife, let her know I'm coming to pick her up at the hotel. And we hitting the bar. We hitting the after party early. You know what I'm saying? Boo. Like, I mean, what was going on, bro? Like, Volk literally got pissed off that he got kicked went in there and finished him. It was an outstanding performance by Alexander Volkanovski. Who knows where he goes from here? There's a lot of options. We'll touch on those in a later video, but does he go up to 155? Does he fight Aljo? If Aljo beats O'Malley, does he defend against Ilia Topuria? Who knows what he's going to do? But great win by Alexander Volkanovski. All right, now my favorite fight of the entire show. Let's get into that. The co-main event, the flyweight championship fight between Brandon Moreno stepping in there trying to defend his title against Alexandre Pantoja. Alexander Pantoja goes out there and defeats Brandon Moreno by decision. Bro, in what was a close fight, but this was the fight of the card for me. Bro, I don't even know where to start. I'm going to get into this fight in my next video, like a real, we're going to thoroughly discuss it, you know what I'm saying? We're going to get off into it, you know what I'm talking about? But bro, this fight right here, first of all, anytime you're watching a fight, to all my fight fans out there, anytime you're watching a fight and somebody's walkout music is Many Men from 50, I mean, bro, if somebody's coming out to Many Men, this dude's about to go to war. Like, we talking about somebody's coming out to Many Men, you know what I'm saying? Bodies is going to be laying all about. They going to be strewn over the octagon. You know what I'm saying? When somebody's walking out to Many Men, you got to understand the mentality, where they're at mentally in their brain before going into this fight. So, and shout out to Alexandre Pantoja for going out there to Many Men. I mean, give him the belt. Just hand him the belt when he walked out to Many Men. Just stop it right there, because we don't need to see a death tonight. But bro, this fight, both of these men put on a pace. Both of these men got that dog in them. Both of these men, first off, let's back up real quick. UFC 290, he got that dog in him. Alexander Volkanovski got that dog in him, because when he got kicked in the face, homie said, oh, okay, this is how we playing? All right, it's over. And he goes out there and he just finishes Yair right after, So that's one part of having that dog. But Brandon Moreno, Alexandre Pantoja, they got that dog in them. I mean, that dog is present, it's there, it's prevalent. It is an abundance of dog in both of these men. I mean, we talking about Pantoja kicks off, starts off the fight, goes in there just bop, 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 bop. Just goes in there, rapid strikes, rapid punches from the beginning of round one. And that just set the pace. And, we're talking about the grappling of Alexander Pantoja. We're talking about the reversals in the scrambles from Brandon Moreno, the assassin, baby. We talking about Brandon Moreno's jab. Just those stiff, quick shots he kept popping Pantoja with the whole night. We're talking about Pantoja biting down on his mouthpiece, throwing uppercuts from, just from Hades. We talking about the hooks from Pantoja. The hooks that would have finished any lesser of men. We talking about the hooks from Pantoja that was literally rocking the planet. People that wouldn't even watching the fight were sitting at home, and they were sitting at home. They were sitting at home on the living room couch and just, honey, I feel rocked. Like, all of a sudden I feel a little dizzy, a little lightheaded. Wonder what's going on. Nothing, it's just Pantoja throwing hooks. Bro, it was just amazing. Just the intestinal fortitude, the cojones on both of these men to go out there and do what they did. Outstanding fight. Pantoja takes it by the scorecards. I personally had Pantoja winning. I personally, it wasn't like I was keeping score, but in my mind, Pantoja won that fight. I believe he won that fight 3-2. But honestly, to everyone that thinks Brandon Moreno won 3-2, I could definitely see that as well. But Pantoja, to me, he did his thing. He went out there and showed, regardless of the previous 2 fights that he had already beaten Moreno, he solidified that, I'm that dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here. I'm that guy. I am him. I'm Pantoja, you know what I'm saying? I mean, brought his children, his family into the octagon after. He's hugging his kids, he's hugging his wife. It's a beautiful moment. I mean, the crowd was still trying to boo him, but you had to give it up to him. He was raised in a single household by his mother. The fact that he called out his father and said, "Are you proud of me now? Am I good enough now?" I mean, chilling, bro. Chilling. Don't quote me on that. I'm paraphrasing, but chilling, bro. I mean, shout out to Pantoja, your new flyweight champion of the world. Outstanding fight. At all times of the fight, when either man looked like he was down and out, he just showed he had that dog in him and he came back. It was an outstanding fight. We're going to get off into that fight in a later video because it deserves more. Let's keep it moving. Robert Whittaker versus Dricus du Plessis. Bro. This was the greatest thing. It was the greatest outcome. It was the greatest everything. I mean, there was hardly anyone. Shout out to Jed Meshew of MMA Fighting, of MMAfighting.com, if you don't know. Jed Meshew called this on Between the Links with Mike Heck when he faced off against BC, Brian Campbell from Morning Combat. Jed Meshew called this. He called Dricus was going to take this one. There wasn't anybody else that did that. There was a world where you're kind of like, bro, what if Dricus does win? But there wasn't really much of a world for saying Dricus was going to win. So shout out to Jed Meshew. He's awesome. And that was great. Bro, Dricus du Plessis goes out there, does his thing, fighting out of South Africa, showing them what's up. I mean, bro, no one saw that coming. First round, the beginning of the round, Robert Whittaker, the Reaper, was doing his thing at the beginning. You're thinking, okay, this is probably going to end up being your traditional, regular Robert Whittaker fight. Bobby Nux. Bro, fight begins. First couple of minutes, it kind of seemed it was going to be your traditional Reaper fight. And then Dricus just has that awkward style. What's so interesting in the post-fight press conference, he kind of alluded to, they trained to make that style so awkward, so hard to time. So it's almost like it doesn't make sense, but he makes it make sense. And if that's true, that him and his coaches really trained that is outstanding. Because I was sitting there watching that fight with my wife, or sitting on the couch, and I'm like, bro, his style is so awkward and ugly. Like, God, his style just looks horrible. When you're watching it, he just always seems off balance, like always out of rhythm, and he's just hopping all weird, and he just always seems like he's just, he's out of rhythm. There's a rhythm a lot to stand up, good stand up fighting. There's a rhythm. When you watch boxing, it's an outstanding pace. It's a rhythm. There's a rhythm at all times. Kickboxing, a rhythm. And a lot of high level MMA rhythm when you're talking about striking. And Dricus doesn't have that rhythm. He has his own rhythm. You know what I'm saying? He's like that guy, he's like that guy you see on the dance floor at a wedding. Everyone's, this is about the middle of the reception, the middle of the reception. So by this point, you hitting the dance floor and everything, you about, depending on the wedding, depending on what's going on, you might be 3 drinks in, because you passed 2. Okay, let's just get honest. You passed 2 drinks by this point. You might be 3 drinks in, or you could be 6 drinks in. Who knows? And there's that guy on the dance floor that has his own rhythm. Like, homie, here's his own beat in his head. Like, he's not on the downbeat. He ain't on the upbeat. He ain't on the 1 to 2 and the 3. He's on the 1 to 7. And now we're back to 2. Like, you don't know what that dude's going to do. Bro, that's how his striking was. But Dricus du Plessis goes out there and starts to get Robert Whittaker's timing a little bit toward the end of the first round. I believe Robert actually got a takedown, or he went for a takedown. Dricus, I believe Dricus got back up from that. I might be misremembering the fight. I'm about to watch it again for my other video. But bro, when Dricus took him down at the end of the first round and started landing that ground and pound, there was like, let's just be real. If there was like another 30 seconds left in that first round, Dricus would have got him out of there in the first round. All right, let's be real. He would have got him out of there in the first round. But as you're seeing that go on, it's like a light bulb goes off in your head when you're seeing that happen and you're thinking, ish, like, yeah, there's definitely a world where Dricus is about to do work on Bobby. All right? But at the same time, the grounded, level-headed MMA fan that you are, Bobby Knuckles fan that you are, Robert the Reaper Whitaker fan that you are, you're like, yeah. But, he'll go back to his corner. He'll regroup. He'll go out there, get back to his game plan. A lot of the times, Robert Whitaker has to kind of be rocked or at least get stung for him to really, turn it up and he's ready to go. So you're like, all right, round ends. They go between rounds. Robert Whitaker comes back out there. And at the beginning of the round, he looks like Robert Whitaker. He's tagging him. He's doing his thing. He's moving. He's back and forth. It's great. And then Robert Whitaker just literally, I don't know, it's almost like, I'm going to give a breakdown of it, but I'll say this. It was almost like as Robert Whitaker is leaning forward to bait Dricus in, and Dricus catches him with a jab, and it was almost like Robert thought, okay, it hit Robert, but it didn't snap his head back or anything. It was a good jab. It was almost like it hit him in the nose, upper lip kind of region, and it was almost like Robert was like, okay. It was almost like he was like, I can deal with it. And then he kind of sticks his head out again to kind of draw Dricus out so he can give him a counter shot. And Dricus hits him with another jab that literally dropped Robert Whitaker. And you're like, bro, what was that? And then after that, you're just watching MMA in its beauty at its finest play out as Dricus du Plessis finishes Robert Whitaker. And what happened afterwards for the next 6 minutes or so is just chef's kiss. Chef's kiss on so many levels that I'm going to break down in my next video. With Izzy getting in the cage, Dana being in the cage, acting like he doesn't know what's going on. In the post-fight press conference, Dana White's acting like he didn't hear what Izzy was saying, like he wasn't aware. Whoa. What'd he say? Huh? What? Speak up. What'd he say? So, bro, we're going to get off into it, but Dana White acting clueless like he didn't know what went on. It was great. We're going to get off into it. I'm probably taking too long on these first 3 fights, but bro, you just got to. I mean, there's so much more I'm going to get into on this Dricus fight, but we're going to get into it in another video. Next, oh my gosh, it's Jalen Turner and Dan the Hangman Hooker. Bro, Hooker. Bro. I mean, my dude, I done rocked the camera. I mean, bro, because there was rocking going on in that fight. I mean, how fitting it was in Vegas. How fitting it was in Vegas, because that Vegas is the only place in the world where you can have a hooker dig deep and make a comeback like that. You do the math on that one. When a hooker makes a comeback like that, the hooker done earned the money. You know, Las Vegas. Let's get into it. Dan Hooker and Jalen Turner. I mean, Jalen Turner misses weight. He comes into this fight heavy. So it had you thinking, was he going to have the stamina? Was he going to have an injury? Is there an injury that he has, and that's why he wasn't able to finish cutting weight? Is he ready, or is he going to come in there as a weight bully, which he already is to a certain extent? But I mean, he's in there against Dan Hooker, who's also big for the weight class, 155. But you're just like, what's going to happen in this fight? What version of Jalen Turner are we going to see? And what version, frankly, of Dan Hooker are we going to see? I mean, Dan Hooker is just now, come on. Like a few fights ago, we was like, Dan Hooker might have to hang it up. The damage he's taken, the losses, the L's he's taken. I mean, bro, what is Eugene doing to you? What game plans is you giving Dan Hooker? Because they ain't the same game plans that you're working on with Izzy, and you're not giving him the Alexander Volkanovski game plan. What is going on in City Kickboxing? Why are y'all giving Dan Hooker these terrible game plans? Or are you giving him the best so you can't make him stick to it? Dan, stick to the game plan, for the love of God. But bro, Dan Hooker went out there, the hangman. And I mean, Jalen Turner starts up round one and he's doing work on Dan Hooker. And you're like, okay. To all the Jalen Turner fans, you're like, this is what I kind of saw happening. This is what I saw happening. So, and I'm sorry, this might end up being a long video. I apologize. I don't know if anyone's going to stay to the end of this. But frankly, bro, I just got to get this out because this card was great. Bro, Jalen Turner does work in round one. Dan Hooker has a couple good moments, has some really solid leg kicks, but Jalen Turner does work. Round two, Jalen Turner goes out there and puts a pace, puts a beating on Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker ate a head kick that was like, bro, it was like a baseball bat upside somebody's skull. I mean, it was like, bro, it was like somebody done pissed you off in the parking lot of the club and you went to the trunk, but you didn't have that fire. You didn't have that fire on you. You know what I'm saying? So you went to the trunk and got out a tire iron. You know what I'm saying? You got a tire iron out and you went upside somebody's head with a tire iron, a tire rod, whatever you want to call it. It was metal, it was solid, and it went upside somebody's skull and they hit the ground. And now you got to beat that charge. If you didn't flee the scene of the crime, bro, you better go to a good lawyer because you got to charge the fight in the courtroom. You know what I'm talking about? Let's not get into let's not get too personal. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm talking about. If you know what I know, if you know what I know, then you know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyway, let me adjust my hat, bro. Jalen Turner hits this man with a head kick, and Dan Hooker, to his credit, he ate it. He fired back. He kept the fight going. By the end, he was hitting Jalen with some amazing body shots. But I want to throw out something. In the middle of the first and second round, Jalen Turner's coach, he said something to Jalen that I thought was very interesting. He asked him, are you hurt? Are we hurt? Everything all right? Okay. Bro, that was very telling. I'm wondering if Jalen Turner went into this fight with some sort of an injury, which would also account for the weight cut miss. A lot of times when these guys got injuries, they can't do all the cardio. They can't deal with the pain of trying to cut that weight, whether you're sweating out in the sauna or just doing your cardio on the night before the weigh-ins just to get that extra poundage off. I don't know. It's just hard, bro, when you got that injury. So in the second round, I'm wondering if Dan Hooker at some point caught whatever part of Jalen Turner's body that was injured coming into the fight. I wonder if he caught that and aggravated that injury, made it flare up. Because by the end of the second round, Jalen Turner looked defeated, but I don't feel like he necessarily looked gassed, like he just lost all his stamina and cardio. He looked like something was hurt on him and he was trying to fight through it. But he was masking it so well. His body language said something was hurt and he was trying to fight through it. His face said like it was a cardio gas, but I don't feel like that's what it was. Nevertheless, Dan Hooker was putting that pace on him at the end of the second round. When they went into the third, Jalen Turner started it up good just in the very beginning. I mean, the opening of the round, and then Dan Hooker put that pace on Jalen Turner. There were some moments where Jalen fired back, and there was some good back and forth. There was a little bit of good grappling, but Dan Hooker went out there and put that pace on him and pulled that fight out. He deserved that win. He gutted that out. He shared the x-ray after the fight. He broke, I believe it was either his wrist or his forearm. Something on this region of the man's arm was broke. Okay? It was broke. It was a clean break. It was broke. It was fractured. It was shattered. It was in pieces. You know what I'm saying? As God is my witness, his arm was broken in half. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jim Ross in WWE. Bro. But Dan Hooker got out there, he got that win, he gutted that one out. He was whispering to the referee, be careful when you lift up my arm, which shows you he knew he had that win. He said, be careful when you lift up my arm because I might have a broken arm or a broken wrist. He told the referee that. I'm paraphrasing, but it's what he said to the man. Bro, Dan the Hangman Hooker, shout out to that man. If you see that man out somewhere, buy that man a beer, and I believe he has a girlfriend or a fiance, so or possibly a wife, but I know he's got a girlfriend or a fiance. So I was about to say buy that man a beer and get him a woman. They in Vegas, so possibly a hooker. But bro, nah, I ain't gonna disrespect his lady like that. You see that man at you, buy him a beer, and you give him a gift card for Bed Bath and Beyond, and be like, "This is for your girl, bro. This is for your lady at home, cause he deserves it, bro. When you see that man out, give him a ride somewhere. Don't let Dan Hooker be catching an Uber. You know what I'm saying? Give that man a ride. Break down, tell the man, kick your own wife out the car and put Dan Hooker in the passenger side and drive him to his destination. Because the man deserves it. He put it all on the line. He laid them on the table, the cojones, and he went out there and he got it done. Pause. Shout out to Dan Hooker. I picked Jalen Turner in that fight to win. And when they was reading the scorecards, I was like, Dan Hooker deserves this one. So shout out to him. That was awesome. I done lost my notes, bro. I done got all off into it. Bo Nickel goes out there, makes easy work of Val Woodburn. Bo Nickel showing you he got them things. He can throw them hands and tongs. You know what I'm saying? Bo Nickel for his size, which he is a big guy. For his size, if you look at him, bro, he looked like he got like Brock Lesnar size hands. And don't know if he really does or not, but he looked like he got like, two irons from your house, you know what I'm saying? Don't iron that shirt, call Bo Nickel, because Bo Nickel will come in there and iron it out. You look like he's holding something, you know what I'm saying? But Bo Nickel goes out there, show he got them hands, put him down. Let's get into Robbie mother effing Lawler. Robbie Lawler, shout out, hold on, I'm coming. Robbie Lawler goes out there. He defeats Nico Price. Bro, yes. Great, bro. Shout out to Robbie Lawler. The greatest retirement fight ever. Greatest retirement moment. Greatest retirement package put together outside of those Hall of Fame packages the UFC did for like Jose Aldo. That'll break you down. That'll have you going to the waterworks. You know what I'm saying? But, bro, Robbie Lawler, shout out to him. Goes out there, gets an outstanding win. I'm going to do another video about that fight, so I'm not going to get too deep into it. But Robbie Lawler does his thing. It was okay to get emotional if you got emotional. You know what I'm saying? But Robbie Lawler, shout out to him. We're going to get into that video. He goes out there, knocks out Nico Price in the first round in the opening moments. It was great. Tetsuro Taira does his thing. We all kind of saw that coming, but he got Edgar Chairez out of there. That was outstanding fight. Great fight. Yasmin Araguay, bro. Denise Gomes goes out there, does her thing, knocks her out. She was out before she hit the floor. She was falling backwards. She was out before she hit the floor. Outstanding performance by Denise Gomes. Outstanding. I mean, huge underdog, goes out there and is like, bro, I'm here representing Brazil. Great night for Brazil. Shout out to Pantoja. So, I mean, she goes out there, does her thing. I'll probably touch on this fight a little bit later in the week. I'm not going to get too much into that, but what an upset. What an outstanding. Goes out there, catches her, I believe it was her right hand, and just sent her to the land of wind and ghosts. She heard wind chimes and she was falling backwards. Pray for her, Lord, because it was rough on her. But shout out to Denise Gomes. Shout out to Alonzo Menifield. Goes out there, does what he should have did in the last fight, finishes Jimmy Crute. That was awesome. Victor Petrino, he goes out there, he makes work. Pratnial, that was outstanding. Cameron Simon gets a huge win. You know what I'm saying? That was outstanding. Jesus Aguilar goes out there, does his thing against Shannon Ross. Jesus, outstanding. That was great. For all the Mexican fans that were in the house, because they, that was the only win by the Mexican fighters on the show. They had an outstanding audience as far as great representation by Mexico. But Jesus Aguilar goes out there, he does his thing. Outstanding fight between Kirk and Esteban. It was great. It was an outstanding fight. Big win by Esteban. Great card. UFC 290, as I'm just looking at it. Esteban, he got that dog in him. Jesus Aguilar, he got that dog in him. Cameron Cameron Simon didn't really have to show you. I'm not saying he don't have that dog in him. He didn't have to show you. Victor, he didn't really have to really show you he had that dog in him for real. Alonzo, he didn't really have to show you he got that dog in. I'm not saying that these people don't have that dog in them, but they didn't have to show it, bro. Denise Gomes, she showed you she got that dog in her. You know what I'm saying? Tetsuo Taira, I mean, it was a good fight. He didn't really like to show that. Robbie Lawler, forever the originator of I got that dog in me. He got that dog in him. You know, so we didn't got to question it. Bo Nickel, kind of went out there, just finished Val. Jalen Turner and Dan Hooker, Hangman, both of them show they got that dog in them. They got that pit in them. They got that, that boxer in them. I'm talking about dogs. They got that Rottweiler, that Doberman Pinscher in them. They got that Mastiff in them. I mean, we talking about dog. Dricus Duplessis goes out there and shows. Did Dricus show he got that dog in him? I mean, I guess by virtue of that win, did Dricus have that dog in him? I don't know. We'll get back to that when I do that breakdown of that fight. But, he might have had that dog in him. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to give that one. I'm not going to say that Dricus had that dog. I don't know if I'm going to give that fight that dog. But, Brandon Moreno, Alexandre Pantoja. Both men got that dog in them. That dog, that junkyard dog. That dog that ain't never been to the vet. He ain't got his shots. He lives off the cheapest dry dog food. The cheapest dog food you can get from Walmart. If he gets that, usually he just gets table scraps. And they don't be the best. You know what I'm saying? Because he's getting junkyard table scraps. Nobody's eating good meals in a junkyard. You know what I'm saying? That junkyard dog, he literally got just a big, like a big 5-pound chain from Home Depot that's worn and rusted out. And just almost like a rope tied around his neck with the chain hooked to it as his collar. Or he might have a spike collar, but it might be a little bit too bougie, for the type of dog Brandon Moreno and Pantoja got in him. I mean, this is a dog that ain't never been inside of a vet. He got fleas, he got ticks, he got roaches, he got every mite known to man. He got hair lice. I mean, we talk about a junkyard dog, you know what I'm saying? That's what both of them men got in them. Then we talking about Alexander Volkanovski, who, I mean, is solidified. He always got that dog in him. Goes out there against Yair. Outstanding card, UFC. I'm out of breath. I can barely talk. My lips is dry. UFC 290, International Fight Week. He got that dog in him, is how I would describe that card. Outstanding card. Great. I'm doing another video with some breakdowns of the other fights. It's going to be great. If you stayed to the end of this video, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for watching these videos. Please like, subscribe, comment. I really want to grow this channel. We got all types of things coming down the pipeline. I mean, I got things. We're going to do fight breakdowns. I'm going to get my Luke Thomas on. If you know, I'm going to get my Luke Thomas on. We're going to do some fight breakdowns. I'm going to be on the telestrator. The illustrator, whatever DC be on when DC be trying to draw the little photos, I'm going to be on it. We got a lot of things coming down the way down the road, but bro, it's on its way. Better everything. We're going to do upgrades. Please like, subscribe, give me your comments. If you don't like anything I'm saying, you can serve me in the comments. It's all good, bro. I appreciate it. We can have a healthy dialogue, a healthy conversation, whatever. If you ain't got no time at all, how I do. You know how Matt and Matter of Fact MMA gets down. You can just drop an emoji, boop, and keep it moving. Drop at 100 emoji, you know what I'm saying? Just drop at, boom, little sunglasses emoji, boom. Whatever you got, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. If you listen to this video, especially if you stay to the end, I know this is a long one. Probably won't get no views, but I appreciate everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. And I'll check you next time. Peace. He got that dog in him.